Over the last couple of months, whenever there's a rumor at bay, it seems like Superman is in the spotlight with a sequel possibility, and even though it has been one of the most long-awaited movies, we still don't know for sure whether the movie will ever release or even if it's gonna be Henry Cavill portraying the role. But despite all that today, we're gonna talk about some changes that the sequel could bring to the table if it ever hits the big screen.
We have identified an engine ignition within the Citadel.
A launch.
Superman sequel. Man of Steel was a movie with mixed reactions back in 2013, with Zack Snyder's version of the character poised to be a franchise for Warner Brothers, one of the main reasons we're shifting our focus towards a sequel today. Firstly, 3 years after the movie was released, Warner Brothers came up with Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, a movie that supposedly set up the stage for several DCEU characters like Wonder Woman and others in the future. Many people are still wondering if Man of Steel will have a sequel or if the movie is just stuck in some sort of development hell. From our point of view, it seems like the first thing we need to talk about the sequel are the problems that are keeping the sequel in limbo. And without further ado, let's dive right in. We're all witnesses of Man of Steel 2 going back and forth over the last couple of years, with the screenplay nearly coming to the light, for it only to slink back into the shadows. The first resources were selling the story of the sequel mainly to be set on Krypton, with the screenplay handed to James Gunn at one time. However, it was later said that he passed it down in favor of the Suicide Squad. 8 years is a lot of time in the movie industry, and this is the main reason why the thought of the sequel happening still continues to dwindle. Fans and leading man Henry Cavill, who still has at least one movie left on his contract with Warner to play Superman, would all love to see it happen, and yes, many would think that seeing how many years have passed since the first movie, a sequel would not be happening, but we're here to prove you wrong with a couple of examples, a couple of movies and franchises which were in the similar place as the Son of Krypton. Firstly, we have the Terminator series, which needed 8 years for the sequel of Terminator Salvation, Terminator Dark Fate, to release. Next, we have the X-Men. 8 years have passed after we were able to see a couple of Deadpool movies and the Dark Phoenix movie set in the same timeline, so when we take a look at these other prime examples, we still have hope, right? Another worrying factor is whether Henry Cavill will be the one reprising his role as the Son of Krypton or another actor recast in the role. However, we think that this is not an issue, as Cavill has said in a recent interview that he has yet to resign his position. He still has a lot to offer to Superman, a lot of stories to share, and an even deeper dive into the character. His words exactly. And we can see why he's so keen on playing the character. After all, he has to be one of the favorites to have played the famous character to this day. On the other hand, the reason we're bringing this up is DCEU's plan to launch their version of the multiverse similar to MCU's ambition, so we're still in the dark no matter the way we put it. The only thing we can do right now is to keep our fingers crossed that we'll get some news about the sequel sooner than later. Zack Snyder's take on a sequel. Everything put aside, the two people why we're even talking about this are, as we said before, Henry Cavill and the man in the chair, Zack Snyder. His take on the first movie, the First Contact style of his, can effectively be showcased by how humanity reacted to someone more than human arriving in their midst. With the movie being somewhat patient in the approach, seemingly influenced by Nolan-esque world building around the man of the hour, Superman. And this is exactly why we're turning to Snyder and his take on the sequel, which became an even bigger reality after Batman vs. Superman: Dawn of Justice, despite its Gotham City guest star. However, Snyder's plan was not to make an Avengers movie like in the DCEU, but rather a sequel to Superman, and here is his thinking process about a potential sequel. That is, if he gets the call to helm things in the first place. The first place his mind went was the character of Brainiac, his natural choice for the sequel, considering how much world building and care has been done on Krypton in the first film. And this can be one of the best ideas, as his character has never seen the light of the live-action side of things, a big baddie from Superman who can bring a lot to the table, expanding the universe even more, opening doors for many more possibilities as to where the DCEU could go in the future. It can be the best extraterrestrial challenge for Superman outside of Lex Luthor, because we can't just forget about Superman's real nemesis, right? The power Superman holds would be the best thing for him to shift his focus on something outside of the Earth, something more of a real challenge for him that could eventually bring more out of the character, ultimately preparing him for what's yet to come. Something even greater than Superman himself, an even greater threat, do-or-die situation that would eventually combine the whole Justice League together in the future, which could be a very good thing to happen in the DCEU, seeing how the previous movies went.
I was Krypton's military leader. Your father, our foremost scientist. The only thing we agreed on was that Krypton was dying.
Superman facing off Black Adam. So far, Cavill's Superman was set only for cameo appearances out of all upcoming DC movies for him most likely to pop up in Shazam 2. After all, he was already teased in the final moments of the first film, thus the theory of Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam appearing in the Superman sequel, his role in Shazam sequel, would make even more sense. In the comics, Superman and Black Adam have been at each other for quite a while. However, they have yet to come face-to-face on screen, crossing paths, a chain of events that can eventually establish some camaraderie between the two. Dwayne Johnson has yet to debut as villain-turned-anti-hero Black Adam in the DCEU, but he's already set to headline his movie on the 29th of July, 2022. This story came from the higher-ups AT&T, which owns Warner Brothers, and them being eager to keep the larger DCEU intact. Snyder kicked the hornet's nest with 2016's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, and AT&T is reportedly emboldened by what they have seen of the Justice League Snyder's cut and are keen on providing the full support. Likewise, Johnson wants in on Man of Steel 2, sharing his thoughts on the superhero genre and both Superman and Black Adam as well, so we could see why he wants in on the sequel of Superman. If he can't be Superman, why not provoke the opportunity to share the screen with him at least, right? This would be a big shift for everyone, even for DCEU itself, as it would bring the two characters to the big screen, two of the most powerful characters in the entire universe face-to-face, battling it out for what's right and both of them going at it their own way. A deal which will probably never end with the two as powerful as them, thus maybe a third party would need to intervene and set things straight. A matter for us to discuss some other time, but also a change which could bring in a lot more newcomers to the table, twisting the entire future of the DC Extended Universe.
What makes you think they'd listen?
I don't know, General. Guess I'll just have to trust you.
On a related note, tell us down in the comments below, how would you describe the Man of Steel movie, and if the sequel ever comes out, which direction would you like to see the movie go? And also don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you'd like to see more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.
Lois Lane. Welcome to the planet.